Today I have 4 steps that will help you stick with your bookkeeping routine. So if you're watching this video, you probably either have a bookkeeping business or you want to start a bookkeeping business. And I totally feel you that sometimes it's hard to be motivated to do that. It's hard to fit it into your busy schedule, but hopefully these ideas will help you out. And if you don't know me, I'm Morgan. Check out my website, FinePoints.biz, and you can subscribe to this channel for lots more bookkeeper videos. Number 1 is empty your mind of tasks. You probably heard that before, that you shouldn't keep everything up here, but you gotta get it out. Your brain should be for working on like creative projects, not for like to-do lists. I just watched a video from a YouTuber, I will link her down below, but she said to have a messy dashboard. So that can be basically just like a piece of paper or a planner where you just scribble all your ideas. My planner is actually sitting right back there. So I do my block schedule every day, and then if I'm just thinking about stuff, I'll just jot it down in my planner. That way my brain's not like contemplating it, but it's there and I can deal with it when I need to. And then she'll actually go another step further and she'll schedule it in the future on her calendar. So she's like, oh, I need to make that doctor's appointment. I'm gonna schedule that for next Tuesday, and that is the time that I'm gonna remember to make that doctor's appointment. So then not only is it out of your brain, but you also have, in theory, a time that you're actually gonna do it. And then the other tip I have for this is schedule a weekly, like maybe an hour. So a lot of people call it a power hour, and just check off as many of the little tasks that you can. So maybe within your bookkeeping business, you need to send 2 emails, you need to make a phone call about getting business insurance, and you need to pay your annual business fee. So you have a bunch of little things that you've just been putting off. So combine those into one really productive hour and just check them all off. That feels so good when I actually do that. Number 2 is make a plan both weekly and daily. So every Monday, usually Monday morning, sometimes Sunday night if I'm on top of it, I will look at the week ahead and I'll just kind of like map out in my mind, like, what do we have going? Do we have a birthday party one day? I know the kids have sports certain days, and then Girl Scouts is once a month for my daughter. And then after I get kind of a feel for the week, I start blocking in my work times and what tasks I want to get done this week. And so for my work, I kind of roughly have like week 1 of the month, week 2 of the month, week 3, and week 4. And I've shared this bookkeeper schedule before. The video is called My Weekly and Monthly Tasks, so you can search for that one. But basically the first week of every month, I reconcile the month before, because usually their bank statements are out. Usually sometime around like the 3rd week of the month, I run payroll. So depending on where we're at in the month, I kind of know generally what I'm gonna need to get done. Or if I need to film a video, I will block that in. So I take my week and I start filling up the empty spaces with work tasks that are my priority. And then pretty much every day I do a daily block schedule and I write that down. So you guys have probably heard me talking about it a bunch of times. I don't know if you're getting sick of it, but I have a block planner, and usually the night before, like while I'm watching TV or something, I will fill out my blocks for the next day. So what I start with is all of the appointments that I can't forget, and usually I put a star by those. So if I have a Zoom call at 9 a.m., I'll put that in. If I'm volunteering in my kids' class, I'll put that in. If I need to take so-and-so to soccer, I'll put that in. And then I pick out my 3 most important tasks that I want to do for the day. I make a little checkbox for myself, so I always have 3 little checkboxes, and then I try as hard as I can to get those 3 things done each day. And just 3 things a day really does help me run my business. Okay, and then the 3rd step of my process is just start with one thing. Getting started is often the hardest part, right? So a couple ideas on how to get started. 1, I trick myself into sitting down at my computer. So I tell myself kind of like a fun task that I want to do on my computer. So maybe it's order something from Amazon that I need, or maybe it's looking up the Airbnb that we're going to soon. So something like that sounds kind of fun to me. I'll sit down on my computer, and then usually I'm able to kind of jump into work from there. I also recently heard this little hack that you start the task that you want to do today the night before. So then it feels like there's momentum and you're not just like starting from scratch. So maybe if you're categorizing a bunch of transactions, you start by categorizing like 5 of them the night before. Then it feels like, oh, I'm kind of in the middle of this task, so I should just keep doing it. Or maybe if you're going to do work for one client, you open all the documents you need for that client and you keep them open on your computer overnight, and then in the morning when you sit down, it's all ready to go. And then you've probably heard before, start with your hardest or your most important task. And getting a big important task done really just sets the tone for the day. It helps you feel really productive, really accomplished, and hopefully then your other 2 tasks don't seem as daunting. Number 4 is stay in a consistent routine throughout the week. So I don't know if you're like a routine person or if you're like anti-routine and we get bored, but I really do find that I do the best when I'm pretty consistent, when I go to bed around the same time every day, when I wake up around the same time, if I get some movement in within the day, if I do some type of meal planning that helps me out a lot, because then I'm not like thinking about it and it's just kind of like already done. And the thing about a consistent routine and following through with this stuff on your to-do list is it's like you're keeping a promise to yourself. So the more that you give yourself a task, I'm gonna reconcile that bank statement today, and then you actually do it, then the next time you assign yourself a task, you have more faith that you're actually gonna follow through, right? So for me, this really just fosters like that consistency, that discipline, and that trust in myself. So if you do the pre-work of kind of creating that routine, creating those habits for yourself, that's gonna go a long way in you being able to successfully build your business. Because honestly, I bet there's a bunch of people who tried to start a business, but they just weren't consistent enough to actually do it. If you're here, if you're the type of person who watches a YouTube video about building your bookkeeping business, I'm guessing you're probably a step ahead of many other people. You're doing your best to motivate yourself and learn as much as you can, so good job. Leave me a comment down below about something you're gonna do this week for your bookkeeping business. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. Also, let me know any other videos you'd like to see. And I will talk to you again next week.